Hello everybody and welcome back to Create Chronicles Endventure. Alright, there should be enough time for the intro music to be done. That's my one bad thing I'm really bad at, is just getting the intro music timing down, because I always forget how long it is and then I don't want to stand here with awkward silence. I hate awkward silence. See, wasn't that horrible? Anyways, what we are gonna look at is that thing. What is that? What's going on? Why is there another portal? That's later in the episode. Don't worry about that right now. What's this? What's that? Anyway, so over here, this is gonna be our first, as you probably read in the title, our first Create factory. That's right, we're finally getting into Create. It's in the name of the series, so of course we have to get into Create. There's nothing in here at the moment, as you could probably guess. It's empty. Up here is just our water wheel room. I'm probably gonna have a lot of hidden power sources because that's just how I work. But I really wanted to have something that kind of was like, hey, look, we have power. And so I'm really proud of this and I love it. And it's just so good. Anyways, I have all this stuff that's later episode stuff. Right now is I have a couple things in Create already made and I will go over them. But first, I want to quickly come down here and you like this. I just like when it's not nighttime. So we're just gonna quickly take a little sleep on the floor, as one does. Oh, no. There we go. You might notice the snoring is gone. That has been removed from the mod pack for now. I don't know if it's gonna get added back, but it was removed for, I think it was bugs or something. There's a reason why. And I don't exactly know why I read it, but I don't remember what I read. So yeah. Anyways, Create. So something that is super confusing and super fun and is something where we're going to be getting into the basics of. And there's so much that's in Create and so much that's really awesome in Create. And I love Create and it's going to be really awesome. So let's look into the basics of Create. There is actually in the quest, there is an entire thing about Create. A whole section for Create, Molten Vents, Enchantment Industry, Electricity, Garnish, and Teleporters. We're just looking at the little section that says Create. That's all we're looking at, just right here. Create. Welcome to Create. Thank you. Well, it doesn't cover every item. It highlights the important things to get you started. Getting help, ponder. If you have doubts on where any blocks or items, hold W and you'll see a 3D in-game wiki. And you can do that with this. So you see hold W, we'll hold W, and it will give you this really awesome little diagram that shows you how it actually works. So you'll see you can put stuff onto this depot. So we just have the depot, and the depot is really fun because you can put stuff onto it. Oops, that's all of my stack. You can put stuff onto it. And all I have right now is this mechanical press. So I made this mechanical press. It's just an andesite casing, a shaft, and a block of iron. Shafts are made with just andesite alloys, which are made with just nuggets. I've been using zinc since zinc is really cheap. And andesite, so if I actually come in here, grab some zinc, grab some andesite, we'll make some nuggets. And here is the most important thing in Create, the andesite alloy. It is cheaper to make if you're using a mixer. So once you can get a mixer set up, highly recommend doing it because you're going to be saving yourself a lot of materials. Rather than using 2 andesite and 2 nuggets, you'll just be using 1. And it's so much nicer and it's so great. But we also need an andesite casing. So how do you make an andesite casing? Very simple. You take a log. You strip the log. You use that andesite alloy that you had and you right click it. Boom. Ta-da! Andesite casing. And then you can use this for crafting. You can also use a deployer. That'll be later because we actually are quite a bit far away from getting the deployer because we have to go to the nether, which will be later in the episode because there's a lot of stuff in the nether that we're going to need. So now we are able to make this mechanical press. I already have a mechanical press, but if I had an iron block, which I could technically make, so if I had an iron block, I would be able to make it after I made shafts. Shafts are just more of these alloys, 2 of them, boom, now you have a shaft, and then I can make this thing. This mechanical press will be very important. The reason why is, boop, we put it down. Actually, I'm gonna put it down here. You'll notice this is how it's gonna look, and it'll have this little square thing right here. This is how it's gonna rotate. I have a hand crank with just 3 blocks and 1 andesite alloy. And this is your cheapest way to turn things. So if I put that down on it, you'll notice if I look at it, it's a block itself, and I can right click and it will actually spin the little thingy, the little square. Obviously it's not going to do anything, but if I put it above the depot and then I reconnect it, watch this, my favorite thing. We spin it, bonk. Look at that. Now we have an iron sheet, and this is the only way to get iron sheets is by pressing. So we use this mechanical press, and we can press things that are under it. Boop. Bonk it again. And then I say I need 2 more. So I'll put 2 down. Bonk 1. Bonk 2. So it only does 1 at a time. But this is kind of how all of the systems in Create work. You'll have this thing right here, which will use stress units. So basically by me spinning this crank, I'm creating stress. You'll notice my hunger is going down. I'm turning basically hunger into stress units by spinning this bad boy. But we can get stress units from other methods, such as this water wheel up here. So let's go back into our quests, create, and stress units. There's also rotational speed. This spins at certain speeds or RPM. Machines use more stress units when they're supplied higher RPMs. So while this thing, this mechanical press, can actually work with just the hand crank, other ones such as the, should be here, there it is, the mechanical mixer will actually require more than the mechanical press. So I won't actually be able to use this, I don't think, to actually turn the mechanical mixer, unfortunately. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Stress units, as I said, come from either me, or they can also come from things like water wheels. So I have 2 big water wheels, but let's make ourselves a little small water wheel. Surround a shaft around wood, not a cog, and you'll get yourself a water wheel. One of the most simplest things that will be used to create yourself delicious stress units. We're only gonna need water because, as I said, it is called a water wheel after all. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hide this behind here because I like to hide my things. But we will just quickly break this little wall here because this is how I do all my create stuff. I hide everything because, yeah, this is how I work. I don't want you to see it. I want to have it hidden away. Oh, here we go. Let's do that. Plonk that down, and then we'll have the water. So the water's going to push this water wheel. And now, obviously, we have to connect this to this. So how do we do that? Shafts and gears. So obviously, I could just stick shafts, but it's not going to turn. So how do I do that? The simplest way? Cog wheels. And then what we also want to do is we want to make a couple more cog wheels. So I'm going to make 3 small ones, and I'm also going to need some more shafts, a little bit more wood, and I'm going to need a couple big cog wheels. I was going to call them shafts like a fool as well. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if I go big, small, you'll notice that this one is actually spinning a little bit faster than that one. And basically what that does is by shifting the gears, if I do this and I do that again, you'll notice it actually speeds up. So by going from a large cogwheel to a small one, to a large one, to a small one, I'm increasing the actual speed of it. And the reason why I want to do that, oops, I placed that in the wrong place. The reason why I want to do that is because it will actually increase the speed that it turns at. And that is something that is very important for certain things as well. Like the mixer, as I said before, the mixer will actually require a higher RPM, which is a rotational speed. And that's what this bad boy will require. So I'm just going to be doing this because then this will spin and this will actually make it a lot faster. So if I put another piece of iron down here, you'll notice, boop, that's going to be a lot faster than what I had before. So I'm just going to toss myself torches back here, and we're going to hover back up the wall. And we can use Andesite Casing, which is really nice. You'll see this little shaft here. I can click the shaft, and it will actually turn it into an encased shaft. So we won't actually have to see the shaft. So boop, and you'll notice it turns into a block, so it's not just a hole, which is really nice. Now, anything I put under here, it will go bonk, and it will turn it into its next kind of smushed item. And if I actually search the press, which I've already done, but it's called a mechanical press. So if I look at the mechanical press and I use JEI, I can actually see the recipes that JEI will actually use. So here we go. We have pressing. So I can turn zinc into zinc sheets. I can turn brass into brass sheets. I can turn gold into gold sheets. And that is what we're going to do next, because we want to actually make a wrench. And to make a wrench, we're going to need 3 gold sheets. So let's head back to our house real quick. Boing, boing, into the house. Grab ourselves a tiny bit of gold. 13 should be more than enough. Funny, I have more diamonds than I have gold. There we go. I love this thing. So now I will take 1, 2, 3, bonk. And then we'll bonk. And then we'll wait. And then we'll bonk. And then we wait again. And then one more time. We now have 3 sheets of gold. So next up, what we can do is now we can look into making the wrench. So I'm just going to need a cog wheel and a stick. So quickly make those. Boom, boom, boom. Wrenching time. Time to wrench it up. Which is great about the wrench is if I boop, boop, shift, there we go. Shift right click on things, I can auto pick it up. So rather than having to mine it, I can just go boop, and it pops right into my inventory, which is super nice. And we'll click our little rewards. So in the Create mod, rotational force is the power generated by moving parts. So as I said, we can use a water wheel, but there's other things we can also do. And one super cool thing is windmills. And we're not going to have windmills right now because to make windmills, we'll need a windmill bearing and we'll need to get ourselves some super glue. And unfortunately, I don't think I actually have access to any of that goodness because we'll need super glue and that requires slime balls. And unfortunately, actually, I might be able to make slime balls, but windmills we're not going to worry about right now, but we will look into them in another time. So let me just kind of, boop, there you go, collect all of my stuff and then just throw my inventory in there. Hold my shovel back though. I have so many buckets of water. Oh my gosh. I have all the buckets. So next thing on the list. So there are some things that we aren't going to get into, such as steam engines. Steam engines will have its own episode when we get to that level. But unfortunately, I'm not there yet. I would love to be, but before we can do that, and before we can even make bronze and all that fun stuff, we are going to need some blaze burners. But before we even do that, let's make the engineer goggles. So I'm going to need some glass. So let's quickly go ahead and head home, search through my horrible mess of inventory, which I really need to do an episode about storage because, yeah. Oh, look, glass. That was easy. Okay, it's just glass. Cool. So I need that. I have gold, and I'm going to need string as well. String. Where is the string? String. Actually, I don't have any strings. The perfect opportunity. Move that in here, my bad. Do I have any wool? Got cobwebs. Can I use cobwebs? And no, whatever. Hold on, we'll just do something else. Okay, there we go. Cool. We got string. Let's go smush ourselves another plate of gold. And then we'll have goggles, which are super useful and highly recommended that you get goggles because they will help you out quite a bit. And I'll show you why in just a second. So goggles, boom, bang, plump that onto my face. And the reason why is now when we look at this thing, you'll notice it says kinetic stress impact 256.SU. So if I take these off, you'll notice I don't see that. Put them on, and you'll notice now I can see kinetic stress impact. So this is actually telling me how much kinetic stress it's having. I love how the zoom also zooms in on that. That's really funny. Goggles, bada bing, bada boom. Free XP nuggets, I'm going to keep those because I can use them for something later on. There's also a stressometer, which measures the stress units, the SU, on a connected shaft, showing how much strain is being placed on the system compared to the total capacity. Now this thing, which we can also make a speedometer, words. These will basically just tell you what's happening with the system. So basically it'll tell you how much stress there is and how fast that your actual speed, how fast this is going, basically, is what it's going to tell you. Did I drop my block? Want that back. It's my block. It's my block. So there's really a lot of cool stuff with Create, and I won't be getting into everything because we don't need to do everything in this episode, but we will be going into probably a lot. I shouldn't say everything. I was going to say everything, but everything is probably not true. This is just more of the basics. And the basics, in my opinion, will also be going into the blaze burners and the crushing wheel. Something I really want to get is the crushing wheel. But let's really quickly look into the mechanical mixer, because the mechanical mixer is also something that's really, really fun. It can be used to also craft things. So say you want to craft the andesite alloys, as I said before, right? Perfect example. You can use them in a mixer. So let's quickly make ourselves a little mixer. So mechanical mixer will require a cog wheel, an andesite casing, as well as a whisk. So whisk shouldn't be too hard. We should have enough for that. Grab some wood. And we will be able to make ourselves a cog wheel, and boom, 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 mechanical mixer. And you'll notice that this one is actually different than the mechanical press. You'll notice this one, that's a gear. How do I connect that? I can't connect it like this. It's not gonna work. And that is where one of my favorite things will come into play, and that is called a drum roll, please. A gearbox. I love gearboxes. Well, one we're gonna make particularly is called a vertical gearbox, and I love them so much. So we are gonna need to make ourselves. We're gonna need more wood first. We are gonna need 2, 3, 4. We're gonna need 4 cog wheels and an andesite casing. That's not an andesite casing. That's an andesite casing. So we take ourselves andesite casing, bada bing, bada boom, vertical gearbox. Great things about these is you can actually transfer them into the other version of a gearbox. So say you have a bunch of gearboxes and you need a vertical one, boop, just put it in the crafting table and it can turn into a vertical one. Same with the regular gearbox. And then you can also turn them into a parallel, a 6-way, and there's a whole bunch of other gearboxes that are really fun. The 6-way one is really awesome as well. A good thing to note about gearboxes, though, is if I would have put my shaft or my hand crank. Oops, here we go. If I turn this side, you'll notice that it's turning left or counterclockwise. And you'll notice that this side is going to turn the opposite direction. So that's one thing to note, that these shafts will actually be turning in particular directions. And if you connect something that's spinning at one going clockwise and something else that's going counterclockwise, it will actually break your machine because they're two rotational forces going at different rotations. Words are hard, okay? But you don't want to have that. So if if I put this on here and try to spin it, you'll notice it will pop off because I'm trying to spin it the wrong direction. So that's one thing to note, is you can't actually rotate it the wrong direction, because if you try, the game's going to be like, no, that's not how that works. So since I'm now going to be setting up this, I'm going to need a gear here, or actually, let me think here. I'm going to set up a gear here and here. I'm going to set my vertical gearbox here. Nope. Set my vertical gearbox up here. We're going to move this bad boy back by 1. There we go. We'll move this back by 1. And we're going to find out if this... Whoa, that's a big hole. And we're going to find out if this is actually enough to run the 2 machines, or if I'm going to need a secondary water wheel. So we'll start with a big, and then we will swap to a small. Swap to a small, and then we'll swap back to a big, and then I'm going to need some more. And we'll have, come on. Small. And I'm actually going to change this bad boy up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a gear here. I'm going to put a gear here. And, I'm thinking of a small space right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it smart. I'm going to boom you, chop you, and andesite you, break you. We're going to make ourselves a second gearbox. We're going to need another little thing called a gear. It's not called a gear, is it? It is called a chain drive. Gonna be called a chain drive, an encased chain drive. So let's make myself a couple of these. Boom, 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 boom. Great thing about these is they can be broken with a pickaxe or an axe. So whatever you're using, you're good. I'm gonna need some zinc, I think nuggets. I think we'll just do 2 right now, yeah. Alright. Chain drives are awesome. They work basically the same as 2 cogwheels side by side. So if I have a rotational force on this one will also spin. So rather than having to put a bunch of these thingies, cogwheels side by side, I can put chain drives side by side. And there's also some other benefits to it, and I forget what exactly the benefits are, but I know they're worth it. So just hashtag trust me, bro. That's not solid advice. Ooh, also, there's something really great about chain drives is because I can put one like this and I can put one like this and it will also work. So in case I needed to turn a direction of when I have it coming from the right, I want to go this direction, or I guess east, I have it coming from, I'm having going east to west, and I want to go north to south, I can set it up like this, and that's a great way to turn it rather than having to use, say, a vertical gearbox. So now I'm trying to think of how I'm going to connect you. I need wood. Trying to figure out how I'm going to connect this. My brain does not seem to want to communicate. At least not at the moment. Nice. Stick a... I need one more gearbox. That's what I'm missing. I need one more gearbox. Boom. Whoops, that's bread. That's not going to make a gearbox. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we take the gearbox. Fantastic. Gearbox here. Gearbox there. Overstressed. Okay. So it appears that we're actually going to need a secondary water wheel. So when this happens, it means that we have too many machines connected to our source of stress units, but it means it's going right here. Actually, there we go. I just read this. It appears that the contraption is overstressed. Add more sources or slow down the components with a high-speed stress impact. So we're going either we're going too fast or our machines are overstressing the system, causing it to not want to work. So luckily enough, I can just do a simple little thing called breaking another hole in the wall. Here we go. I'm falling into a hole. Oh no. Another deep dark hole. Oh gosh. We'll just cover that up. Don't worry. Shh, that doesn't exist. Deep dark hole doesn't exist. It can't hurt you. And there we go. Now our system is back to being fully operational. I'm gonna quickly break this really quickly because I like to have double sources. There we go. Let's block that up. Block that up. Block that up. Now we're also going to need an item called a basin. If I'm not wrong, a basin is... Yes, look at that. Basin. Boop. And that's how basins work. They go under a mixer. They can also go under presses as well for certain recipes. And as I'm going to say, always check the JEI as well as the quest line because super freaking awesome. This quest line is so expansive. It's so awesome and I love it so much. It does say it's not going to go over every single thing in Create. It'll just cover every item. It does highlight the important things to get you started, and that's what's so great about this. This quest line is really awesome. Super helpful things in here. Highly recommend checking it out. But now that we've set that up, I'll take 4 nuggets, and I'm going to need some andesite. So we'll take 1, 2, 3, 4. So before, if I did this, this would get me 2 alloys, right? So I'd be able to make 2 alloys. Now, if I go ahead and I go boom, boom, that will now mix it together. Mixy, mixy, mix. And we just got the achievement. And if once that little advancement disappears, you're going to notice that this now has andesite alloys in there. Yoink. We now have more andesite alloys. One thing that's super awesome about this, say I don't want to have to take it out. Say, oh man, I really wish that I could just have it waiting for me. Break the floor, boom. And then you'll notice a little spout appears. So if I click that with the andesite alloy, I then get myself a couple more nuggets here. That's just 7. So now I throw in 7 and I throw in 7. You'll notice. Wait for it. And you'll notice that the andesite alloys will now just slowly pop out onto this little depot for me. So there you go. That's our first 2 little machines. And now we can actually make this beautiful thing, the basin, even better by using a thing called a blaze burner. And as you could probably guess, a blaze burner is going to require something a little important called a blaze. Before we even do that, though, we are going to need to make an empty blaze burner, which is going to require 4 sheets and the netherrack. So let me grab some iron. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to capture a couple little guys of blazes. You know, I was hoping I'd be faster than that. So I want to capture a couple blazes. So I'm gonna also bring this just in case. And one more bonk. Bonk. There we go. So now this should allow me to make 3 blaze burners. Blaze burners, we feed them a type of burning item and they'll be used to heat the basin. The reason why we want to heat the basin is because it is used for creating certain things. So you'll notice some things say heated and some things will say superheated. And you'll have to superheat this guy. And the way to superheat the guy, I forget exactly what you need, but you'll need a blaze cake or other methods that we'll get into in a later episode. But the heated is what we're going to be after right now, because we can get the blaze burner, slap him under there, throw him some coal, and he'll be able to heat stuff. And we're going to need to heat that because we want to make brass. I want to make brass. The only way to make brass is by using a mechanical mixer that's been heated using a blaze burner with copper and zinc to make brass. And the reason why we want brass is because we can use brass to make brass casings, as well as we need brass. I think we'll need brass to make the brass hand, to make the deployer, which will then be able to deploy stuff. And this is one of the most important things, as it will be used in actual sequence crafting, which you will see in, so you'll see it in the orders of engineers to make wooden mechanisms. This is a sequence. This is terrifying when you first look at it and you have no idea what you're looking at, right? If you've never done Create and you've never played anything with Create Chronicles, this probably looks horrifying. I get that. I've been there, right? This is crazy, but it's actually not that hard as you might think. So I'm saying it's not that hard, but you know, as I said, if you're looking at that for the first time, you've never seen that before, it might look terrifying, it might look scary. Don't worry, it's not that hard, I promise. You just need to learn how it works and it becomes a lot simpler. I was you at one point. I remember looking at Create and going, what the heck is this? You could just watch my Create Chronicles series when I'm first doing Create. No idea what I was doing. Very terrifying. But now here I am trying to teach you and pretending I know what I'm doing. Ow. That guy shot me with an arrow. Anyways, let's hop into the nether for the first time. Let's go find ourselves a blaze. Or about at least 3 of them. I want to kidnap 3 blazes. Welcome to the nether. Imagine we spawned right in a bastion, or not bastion, a whatchamacallit? A fortress. Is that a bastion over there? Can't tell. It looks like one. And I do have, yes, awesome. So I have these boots, and what's great about these boots is this. Oh my god! Okay, well, there's a blaze spawner there. So that just made this episode like 30 times more easier. That's correct. I honestly don't know what to say. That's insane. What is the chances of that? Yoink. That is absolutely insane. What is the chances of that being... Okay, no, genuinely, what the heck? That is amazing. Look at this. No freaking way. I honestly was like... I was honestly trying to figure out how we were going to find a fortress, and there's a freaking blaze spawner here. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Oh gosh, I'm on fire, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. Ow, gatekeeper. Gatekeeper, he's gatekeeping. Okay, honestly, what? Yeah, my brain hasn't been able to process this yet. Like, what are the chances? Okay, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Come back to the world. Okay, so you're probably not gonna be as... You're not... Okay, you know... This was like planned. Ray Alice knew I would just go off on a tangent, and they're like, oh, Ray, I know you'll do this. Here, have a blaze spawner right away so you don't get distracted in your episode. That's it. That's exactly what happened. It was planned. It was rigged from the start. The whole time. That is insane, actually. Okay. I didn't even get a chance to explain it. Basically, what you need to do is you need to make an empty blaze spawner using 1 netherrack and 4 iron, and then you have to go find a blaze. All you have to do is right-click it, and you'll scoop up the blaze, putting them into a blaze burner. And that is this bad boy right here in our hand. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this under here, and this guy's now just going to live here. Drop a name in the comments if you want to name him. And we're going to need some fluid. I was going to say fluid like a fool. We're going to need some fuel. Well, let's head over here. Let's head back into my horrible monster. Actually, no. Oh. Let's head over here. Boom. I'm going to need copper. What am I doing? I need copper. What am I doing? I need copper. And I already have some zinc. Should be a fine amount of zinc. Yeah. There we go. I even brought this backpack because I was going to go steal lava. Anyways, so now that we have this little guy right here, what we need to do is let's grab some zinc. I'm thinking 16. I'll leave the rest of it. I'll take the 16 zinc and the 16 copper. Boom, boom. And you'll notice nothing is happening, right? I put the zinc and the copper into the basin. Why is it not working, right? Good question. Thank you for asking. What we need to do is we need to power this guy. So I'll feed him a piece of coal. And you'll notice he has a little timer on his head. 6 minutes, 32 seconds. That should be plenty of time, I think. Now he will... Well, basically he'll work. He's going to do his job. He's going to make me brass ingots. And you'll see the numbers going slowly up.
Nom, nom, nom. Delicious brass. I love me brass ingots.
Perfect. So while he does that... Let's go back into Create and look at some other things that I want to actually get into today. So we do have a millstone. A millstone is basically a small version of a crusher, and it can crush some small time things. There is a crushing wheel, which will be used for your bigger crushing things, but this is more for your small crushing stuff. So say if you wanted to ungarnish cashew, you can turn it into cracked cashew, or you can use sunflower to make yellow dye. It's good to have, and it actually takes its stress unit input in the bottom. But the crushing wheel is basically its like big brother, and it's like the more important thing. We didn't get quartz. We never got quartz. I had to go back to the nether. Anyways, let's scoop up our brass. The real alloys. Yeah, this is what we've been after. So we got the quartz. We need to take the quartz, we need to cover it in redstone, and that will make a rose quartz. Rose quartz, super awesome, super nice. There is actually an easier way to make it by using redstone fluid, but you get redstone fluid from... I have no idea how you get redstone fluid, but if you have redstone fluid, you can pour it onto quartz somehow. I don't know the recipe. It doesn't seem to want to work. Anyways, we got our rose quartz, and we're going to need paper. And the reason why we need paper, I only need one. I don't know why I made so many. We're going to paper. I'm going to shove sand into it, and that is going to make Sandpaper. Sandpaper. Now, the reason why we have sandpaper is because it is used to polish things. So you can actually do it with like walls and such. So you can have a 0C stone wall and you can turn it into polished versions, or you can do it with stairs, you do it with blocks, you can even do it with oxidized copper to turn into weathered copper. But that's not what we got it for. The reason why we got it, very simply to tell you, is we got it because we need to polish these red quartz. So there we go. I was trying to keep swatching my hand. Anyway, so we just hold right click and it will just rape it up. And bada bing, bada boom, we have polished rose quartz. So now let's go back to the deployer because that was the thing that we were trying to do. We are going to need some iron plates, so bonk. We'll take the iron plate, we'll take the rose quartz. This will make an electron tube. Now we need an electron tube. We'll need 4 brass sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop those out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. My inventory is getting full. There we go. Everybody knows that's how you clear your inventory, is by empty it like that. All right, so electron tube, we will need this. You two, there we go. Now this will allow us to create, I need an andesite thing. This will allow us to create our first deployer. Now, deployers are really awesome because it works basically like the player hand. So basically, if I borrow this depot really quickly, put the depot here, put the hand here, put the axe into the hand, put the log down, need my hand crank, and I spin it. Boop. Artificial intelligence, look at that. It stripped the oak for me. Obviously, I could do that by myself with my own hands, but this will allow you to automate player actions with the hands. So, say if I need to clean exposed copper, there you go. But that's not really what it's for. What it's really for is for the automation and putting of items onto stuff. So as I said, we go to our quests, we go to the order of the engineers, the wooden mechanism. You'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 deployers are being used. An axe, or sorry, a saw, boarded pulp, andesite alloy, cogwheel large, and then a press. And that is a process. So we'll actually set up that process right here later. Not right now. We're not going to do it just yet, but I want to make this, and this is going to require us to make mechanical crafters. One of probably the best things in here, because this will allow you to do big crafting. You'll notice that there's actually like different shapes, and this is how you kind of do your big crafting. And basically the very important things is really what you're going to have to be creating with this thing. So you'll notice you create an alternator, which is used for power, is made using this. Basically anything that doesn't use a 3x3 is what you're going to find here. So you'll notice that we can make waystones, which is used for teleporting, but it's used within this thing. And so, well, we're going to have to make it. But I don't want it for that. I want to make 21 of these things, I think it was. Yeah, I need 21 of these things. I don't think I have enough rose quartz for that, if I'm being honest. Boom. And how many I need? I have 5. I need 1 piece of iron. Oops, I have 1. Let's combine the iron with the rose quartz. Boom. We have 6. We're going to need brass casings, which is just that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will grab brass. And the same system applies for this. You just slap that brass on there. And voila. Now it's the brass casing. And now we have a little brass casing. So now we just combine the brass casing. We're going to need some crafting tables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll make 6 crafting tables. Boom. Boom, and that's only 18, 19, 20, 21. So I need 1 more. That sucks. All right, let me quickly go ahead. I'm going to run to the nether, quickly find some quartz, and we'll be right back. And I'll be able to show you the big auto crafting thingy, my bobber. Woo! There we go. some quartz, got a blaze rod. It was just the one that I got from last time that was just sitting on the floor. Thought I probably should grab it. Redstone. I don't have a lot of redstone, but it should be enough to make one, I believe. Yeah, just enough to make exactly one. There we go. We have just enough to make exactly one. Just enough sandpaper to make exactly one. And then we are going to need some brass and a crafting table as well. Boom, boom, boom. Bing, bong, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Brass, boom, 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 boom. 21. Now I think this area is too small to set up what I actually want to make, because it needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall. Yeah, my roof's only go 3 tall. So we're gonna have to set this up outside. Now we're outside, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Get that back. 4, 3, 4. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Whoops. Boom, boom. Whoop. There we go. Did I build this wrong? I feel like I built this wrong. I did build this wrong. I'm going based off of memory here. There we go. And then... Okay, don't fall. Oh. I'm gonna have to go grab that wrench, and then we're gonna need some way of powering this thing now I think about it. Wrench is over here. Should be enough for now. Clear out some of this beautiful grass that I've made. My hard work to make all that beautiful grass. I put in a lot of work. If you look at this place before I touched it, it looks completely different. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, let me know if you guys want to see that like stuff. I always feel like it's like, do people really want to watch me terraform for an episode? Let me know, because like this mountain looks completely different. It's full of like cobblestone. Like this entire chunk here is just cobblestone, because it used to be a lot flatter, and then that used to be more kind of like a U when I made it fuller. Anyways, I'm talking about stuff that doesn't really matter right now. Here we go. And there we go. Or no. Yes, okay. Cool. Cool, yeah, cool. Okay. Basically, what I just did there, I'm using the wrench, and that will actually rotate these little thingies here. These are basically little arrows, and this will actually direct where the item goes in the next phase of crafting. And so you'll notice I have them all going down and to the right, up and to the right. They're all convening on this one point. And you want to make sure they all convene on a single point during the crafting, as if you don't do that, well, it's not going to work out well for you. The item is just going to basically, it's just going to fail, is basically what I'm trying to say. I believe it was like that. 4 wood and then a piece of stone in the center. Let's go. Actually, I should have a piece of stone just sitting in here. Yep, stone. Boom, piece of stone, and then we're going to need... Huh. It appears to be overstressed. Now let's watch the magic happen. Crafting it all together. Crafting it all together. Oh, I realize I messed up on that one, but it's fine. It's fine. Everything will work out in the end. Crafting it all together. Crafting it all together. I love this little animation as well. It's so cool. And bonk. And you'll know you did it correctly when it does this little animation. Comes together. Whoop. And now it is the crushing wheel. Now this is one of the best things ever to be created in Create. This is how it goes. Or I think I have that. No, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna have to break this wall here. Break the wall, break the wall, break my beautiful wall that I spent so long designing. That's a joke. I just slapped down a bunch of bricks and hope for the best. I'm also going to come over here and I'm going to steal these because these are actually going to be used for the next next operation. That's what the word I'm looking for. The next operation. The next operation. Okay. So I'm going to quickly put block, 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 block. Wheel, wheel. Another thing we're going to need is called a chute. Chute. There we go. Ah, chute. So I'm going to need all that stuff. Cool. So put the iron there. Chute. Chute basically kind of works like a hopper, but instead of like holding the item, it basically drops it out. So if I shoot, I drop my chute through, and it'll just fall right through. You're probably thinking to yourself, why didn't I just throw it then? Because chutes connect to chests. That's right. That little shooty patootie is going to connect to a chest arena. Do I have any wood in here? Thank golly I do. I'm running out of materials. It's the one problem with starting a Minecraft world is you run out of materials. So I will need 2. I'm gonna need these. Now I think about it, I'm gonna need those. That, and then chest. Shoot there. Can I access that chest? Apparently, but yes. Awesome. Now we can make that funnel I was talking about before. Oh, we're gonna need dried kelp. Hold on. The dried kelpinator. It basically means I'm gonna go and get some kelp and dry it. Hold on. All right. Well, I got kelp, but I didn't actually cook it yet. And there's a reason why for that. And that is because I came up with an even funner idea. Because rather than cooking it the normal way of putting it in a furnace, ugh, gosh, who does that anymore these days? Am I right? We're going to do something even better. We're going to use an encased fan. We're going to need a shaft, which it should have. I don't have any shafts. Oh no, I have shafts, and then it was also, oh, it was a propeller. I need to smush my iron. I need to smush more iron. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bonk. All right, so we're gonna need that, and we're also gonna need to make a encased fan thing. Yeah, there we go. Empty fan catalyst. We're gonna need some iron bars. And some brass. All right, there we go. So let's make the encased fan, which will require a propeller. Encased fan. There we go. And then we're also going to need to make the empty fan catalyst. Oh, I see. I'm dumb. I see. I see what's happening here. My brain is pretty small, but I understand. I'll be right back. Whoop! Oh, okay, there we go. We got some netherrack. And now, there we go. I thought it required a fireplace. I was wrong. I am dumb. Please excuse my silly billy. Alright, let's put that just right there. Alright, cool. So the reason why I did this, why I put netherrack into an empty fan encasement, which is made like this, is because we are going to smoke the kelp. How do you smoke kelp? Well, one, you could just put it into a campfire or a furnace or a smoker, but why do that when you can use bulk smoking? Dun, 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 dun. So you can do it a regular way of just using a fire. You put the kelp on the floor. So basically you'll just put the fan there. Do I have flint and steel somewhere? Yeah, fire. Okay. We'll just do one piece because, yeah. Okay. This is not helping my case whatsoever. There we go. We did it. Look at that. Why did I eat it? All right. So that's one way of doing it. You can actually put the item, you can put lava, you can put water for all the other certain ways that you're able to do it. But we're going to do a little different method. What we're going to do is we are going... Inventory is full again. It's happening. We're going to do a little bit of a different method. Oh, sweet. I can jump up here. Awesome. Sweet, 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 sweet. Alright, so I'm going to put the catalyst right there. Oh, wait, shoot. I can't actually hop up there without the block. Oh, well, whatever. And then put a block here. Put a block here. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, so now I just need to make myself water wheel. Water. Fantastic. So this is just going to be the first one, so it'll be... I'm just going to set it up as simple as I can. Because I really don't care about the aesthetics of it right now. That's a later problem. We just need the dried kelp for right this second. Alright, so we will need... you there. Alrighty, so I went on a bit of a tangent here and took me forever to figure out what I did wrong. So I'm here in creative mode just to basically show you what I did because it took me way too long and it was really long process. So I have the water up here as I just did, and it's not working. All I had to do was put a block right there, and that was literally it. I believe, is that going up actually? Yeah, that is going up. So good thing to know is that these water wheels will actually go in 2 different directions depending on how the water is actually rotating. So if the water is rotating a way that you don't want it to, just swap the sides. And there you go. Now you'll know it's working when it's pushing out black smoke instead of pulling up white smoke. So that's what I did. And then now it's working. Back to past me. So now let me go grab my kelp. Not my dry kelp. Put that onto there. Actually, let me just put one. Put one onto there. This will now use no power whatsoever, and it will actually dry the kelp, which is really awesome. There you go. You do want to take it off because I believe it can actually destroy items. I might be wrong on that. Do not quote me on that, please, because I could be wrong. But that's just something to note that it could destroy items. And yeah, so let's do that. There we go. So now we got our dried kelp, and now we can make the funnel. We are going to need 1 andesite alloy, and then a funnel to make a funnel. Boom, boom, andesite alloy. Fantastic. Now I am also going to need a chest. So I'm just going to make a hopper because I'm dumb. Apparently, where did I put my chest? I just used the chest. That's where I put my chest. What I was trying to do is literally just make a hopper. I know I've done it before, but I used a hopper like a fool. Didn't remember I used a hopper. Now I just filled up. There we go. Ta-da! I did it! I'm so proud of myself. With my floor. Ah, there's floor. Boom, boom, boom. For you. Cobblestone. Water. I need some water. Water is the only water I have. All I have is water full of fish. Yeah, that's one. And scoop. A witch over there. I can see them on my map. Give me anxiety. Freaking witches, man. Witches in Minecraft. Alright, there we go. So now these two are spinning at 2 different directions. You'll notice this one's spinning counterclockwise, or this one's spinning clockwise. The reason why is because I need these two to be spinning different directions to do their crushing. Grab my shafts. Boom, 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 boom. Wheels of destruction. Wheels of destruction. Wheels of destruction. Like a band name. So I'm gonna bring these down by 1. I feel like I can. It looks a little goofy, but it should work for my purposes. And that's what matters. The reason why we built this entire thing is for this right here. So look at this. We have all these ores. Now, obviously, I could smelt them, and smelting them will give me 1 iron. I could crush them to get raw iron. Why would I do that? Well, because I can just cook it into regular iron. But the one upside of it is, sure, I don't get anything extra. I do get a chance of XP, which, I mean, is a lot more than what I'm going to get otherwise. So, you know, this will just crunch up the iron. Cobblestone out there. Crunch, 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 crunch. And we're back one more time. I promised last time, but just a quick little thing that I did figure out later in the episode, but I'm just gonna fix it now because it's a lot quicker. So you'll notice how I set up these water wheels. They are currently going this way and this way. Problem is that they are both turning the wheel up. What I needed to do, and what I do later on, is I do this. Quick fix. Very simple, very easy. You want both the wheels to be going into each other, not away from each other. They want to be going into each other, and if you don't do that, basically when you crush something, it's going to pop back upwards. And that's not exactly what you want. You want it to go downwards. So, don't be like me. Be smart. Yeah. Okay. Back to me. It's gonna take a bit, so we'll just slop that there, and we'll work on the next thing because, well, we can smoke. We can no, kids, don't. No smoking, kids. Bad. We are using a smoker. We can make another one of these bad boys, and we can combine this with lava, make a blasting catalyst. And this, basically, think of it as re-smelting. Now we have a blasting catalyst. You don't actually have to do this, as I said before, with the smoker. You don't have to do this. This is just really awesome, and I love it because it just makes it safer. That's all it does. You can actually just use, like, trapdoors. You can use, like, iron trapdoors and such if you want. I just find this to be a lot more safe. Now we're shooting fire from the sky. So good thing to know, don't stand in this because this will be you if you stand in it. Well, that didn't work. I just deleted it. But don't stand in there, you'll disappear. I forgot that it doesn't cook anything. You need the smoking wood for that. Don't stand in there. That will be you. You'll disappear. There you go. Sweet. So now we can actually cook iron without any need for fuel, basically. So we'll save all our coal. Okay, cool. Let me really go ahead and fix this real quick. And I'm done. You see, these were going up. You see what happens when you rotate something upwards? It goes up. Physics. Anyways, so now these are both going down. I'm gonna put something inside of it like raw copper. The raw copper is going to pop out on the bottom. Also, something I realized is I can just get rid of this. Put that there, and that will just auto take that. But that should all now be done. Whoops. Boom. And there we go. Look at that. So now we have our little crushing area here. That does kind of look phallic. Oh, shucks. Okay, just look away. Look away. We also have our smoker and our blaster set up. So now we can actually take the raw copper and we can shove it onto there. Now that will actually heat it up into, drumroll please, copper ingots. Sweet. So now we'll put water into here. And then we'll put the kelp into there. Now this will mix. And we'll turn it into rubber. Now if I click this, I can set it to just make rubber, throw that back out. And now if I'm just gonna yoink this depot really quickly. This will output my rubber for me. Or we just need 2 more. We ran out of water. Put some more water into there. I think it's smoking. Okay. We actually didn't need the vertical. I'm just not smart. I didn't. Alright, cool. My brain is so gigantic. I am a genius. My brain is so big. People look, oh my god, his brain is so big. And I'm like, thanks. I'm having a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. Alright, there you go. And that's how you make a mechanical belt. Was it worth it? I got 2. Use them sparingly. But what's just great about them is because you can do that. So, the final thing we're going to look at is sequences. So, originally I did say I was going to do this thing here, but I just don't have the room for it, nor do I have the materials or the stuff for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a train track sequence instead. It requires either an iron nugget or zinc nugget, 2 of them, as well as a press. And I have the materials for all that. The first one here already has a zinc nugget in it. I will put a zinc nugget in that one, and then we have the press. Also using belts. So I have this connected up to a connect source, which is now rotating the belts. Depending on which way the connect source goes, the belt will rotate in the opposite direction. All I need to do now is I need to take my andesite slab, roll it onto there. First one will do its thing. We'll move to the next one. Boop. And we'll move to the next one. Boop. And that is how you use belts in a sequence. Do note though, when you are doing sequence crafting, they might actually require multiple sequences. So let me look and see if there is one. So here you go. You'll see here, orange mastic paste, sugar, or mastic paste. On dough. I don't know how to pronounce these words. Let me find something else. Okay, here we go. So rose quartz sheets and 2 nugget experiences on an experience sheet. You'll see repeat 10 times. That means this thing will have to go through this, and this 3 times before you actually get your mending ruin. You'll need 10 of these, 10 of these, and then 10 of these as well. And you'll have to go through the process every time your item is used. So that's why you'll need to put 10 in there. So it can hold up to a stack. Just make sure that you have enough for the sequence, or you'll be stuck with something that isn't going to work because it will just be incomplete. But for now, this is going to be the end of this episode. Hopefully you learned something about Create, and hopefully I was able to help a little bit, if not a lot. And I will see you in the next episode where we're going to be looking into sophisticated storage and the backpacks, and hopefully maybe clean up the mess that I call my storage room just a little bit. But for now, bye-bye. Bye!